Welcome to Half Sick of Shadows, the one-to-one romantic fantasy anthology play game that Grant and I are doing. If this is your first time here, we have been telling a story over a variety of systems. We started with For the Queen. We moved into Starcrossed, The King is Dead, and now we are here in Unrestful Hearts in the Garden of Glory. Last week, we were introduced to two new characters. Excuse me. Tora, Laine, and Giordan, Vespucci. And they separately, they were supposed to come together to fight against House Harper, which was an upstart house that branched off between a marriage of House Holloway and House Laine, and were part of the worshippers of the Children of the Calamity. But then Giordan and Tora don't get along. And so House Harper was violently routed out. Giordan discovered some things about the reason, House Harper's motivations, and then there was a huge catastrophe in the mountains in the lands of House Holloway, where the mountains started collapsing, and Giordan was there helping to clear people out. Tora Laine arrived dramatically to save the rest of the people, but while she was trying to get Giordan out, failed and the mountain collapsed on them. Giordan revealed that he has some dragon heritage, perhaps, and now they are trapped in a mountain together that is full of some monsters. Is that pretty much? I feel like I hit all the points.
That's all the points. That is all the points. So, since we are in the middle of things with this game, and we haven't ended the season, we've finished the storyline, but we haven't ended the season because we're not going to end the season with us trapped. It'll end once we manage to get out of the mountain. And in order to do that, we need to play scenes. And the way the game works is you alternate around the table, setting scenes, and you kind of shift who is the facilitator and when. And currently it's my job to set and frame a scene for the game. The last scene that we set involved the escape from the mountain. This scene, I have to pitch a question that I want answered and figure out what will move the plot forward. I think this is actually going to be a personal scene, since we had a societal scene last time where it was the exodus of the people from the collapsing mountain. I think the personal scene is going to be... I think I want to learn, and the question to answer is going to be, what is Tora's position in House Laine? And play to find out. So there's, we know Tora is respected up here. We know Tora has status. There's stories about things Tora has done. However, this game deals with a lot of intrigue and drama, and simply being a Laine doesn't necessarily mean you are a house leader, or it might mean you are a house leader, but you have many opponents. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to frame a scene, and we are currently trapped in the collapsed mountain, navigating out. which is essentially we're going through a variety of cave systems, so on and so forth. And I think during this, uh, what we want to do is find out the position. Now, there's stakes to this scene, and I think the stakes to the scene, I might want your help setting them because the scene is about Tora.
Hmm.
We need to figure out if we stand to gain or lose something, and it might be it might be trust, it might be a secret that's revealed, it might be our health. We don't know, but currently we have to exit the mountain.
Yeah. So
But
the
the scene we want to
scene,
answer
oh,
is
sorry.
about Tora.
The scene's about Tora. And in this scene, you want to achieve finding out what her role is, like what her standing is in House Lane. And we also want to escape the mountain, or
Well, that's the backdrop, right? So that's
the
the
backdrop is
background.
escape the
The
mountain.
background is escaping. So, and when we say like station beyond, well, I'm a knight. It's like, who are her enemies? Who are her allies? Um, has she ever been to the capital and attended a ball? Where does she spend her time when she's not there? Did she grow up fishing on the rivers and uh, down south, or
Yeah,
did her
yeah.
parents work in a mine on Mercier lands? This really, it's a scene about learning more about her. Um,
Okay. Okay. Um, I think maybe what might be interesting to me for what is at stake is perhaps how Giordan views her, because he has kind of a not great opinion of her right now. So I think maybe what's interesting um, and makes sense with the backdrop is this: the stakes are his opinion.
Possibly, and I wouldn't say that he has a poor opinion of her. I will say that he would not let her lead his unit in combat. However, she did arrive, so I think you're right though. He'll sway one way or another. Um,
Mhm. Well, yeah,
I
that's right. Like he's had like a negative experience with her and a positive experience with her. Um, and so then the question is,
Okay,
how does that resolve, you know?
okay, got it. Um, so we'll set the scene. We're currently traveling, and then we play the scene till we essentially answer the question, or we feel the question has been answered. Um, Currently, uh, oh, also our pools refresh.
Yes.
So everything except our narrative pools. And I'm going to burn. Mm, yeah, I'm going to burn three more. I'm going to burn three crown points and add them to Giordan's dragoning. Uh,
Okay.
and the main reason for that is I'm adding them to crown because I think being the leader of the Dragon Guard, being known as the Dragon of the Mountain, not only is there a lot of glory in this, it's this weird thing that knights talk about and see, but also there's a political power to that. It
Mhm.
might be in order to be leader of the Dragon Guard, you have to be descended from a certain lineage or ancestry, so on and so forth. But I'm going to add it to buff up the total a little bit. And
Okay.
currently, oh,
And
is there
and I
any?
mean that
Yeah,
says
go ahead.
something about like the dragoning isn't then a secret necessarily.
No, in fact, it's a legendary quality and cannot be a secret once it's that. So it's something. We'll put it this way: it's a rumor, and it's talked about in stories. That's really what glory means. It's like, how often is this brought up in stories?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um,
So let's set this. So in the mountain, it's currently uh, just black as death. You know, it's you can't see anything. We are literally in the pits of hell. It feels like um, warmer than it should be, than icy cold, and it is then that the torch strikes, and Giordan gets a torch. Kind of looks left, looks right, and then says, looks at you, and then says, into the veins, and begins delving deeper and deeper uh, into the mountain.
Wait. And I have a
Stop.
question for you
Yes.
because I mentioned that she was trying to pull the roll she failed. That the reason we're trapped is that she was trying to pull Giordan away, and she touched his dragon hand, and there was something going on with it. I think it was maybe getting really hot or something.
Well, that's when it was in the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So did that like does she have a burn on her hand or anything? Um,
He did on his right hand when he pulled off the gauntlet. The gauntlet was hot. Once his hand was revealed, it was no longer burning.
okay. Okay. Um, she's so it's true then.
Is what true? He says.
The dragon of the mountain is really a dragon.
With that, he kind of narrows his eyes, almost like he's offended, and then kind of rolls them. Between you and I, as players, it might come off like he's rolling them, like, oh no, here we go again, but it's something he's rolling his eyes about to kind of mask that it's something he is very, very, very sensitive about. Hence
Mhm.
the gauntlet. And make a roll to see if Tora picks up on this. Hits.
What's my difficulty, or is it just like a yes or no? I rolled a 2.
We'll say that that works. Because the total score of the dragoning is a 6. I'm just assuming that if you roll less, you know.
Yeah.
You can tell. He's sensitive about it.
I'm sorry if I offended. It's just
No offense is given. I've had it my entire life.
all the monstrosities I've fought. I've never believed in dragons.
Are dragons a monstrosity? Is that how you view me? He says as he's.
No.
And I imagine we're actually like going down a chimney, which is like a vertical cave, very carefully.
No, that's the thing. Dragons are nothing like the creatures that you and I fight.
The only dragons are armored in dark plate mail. The rest have passed on.
Are you sure? She says, like looking at his hand.
Um, he looks at it and he goes, "As sure as I can be." And what of you? Who's looking for you right now? And are they trustworthy?
Who's looking for me?
Surely a knight of House Laine goes missing while defending House Holloway.
Depends if people think we're dead or not. The mountain collapsed and we didn't come out.
That makes sense. No one would be looking for you. Who would take up command in your stead? Who is your lieutenant?
I don't. I don't have an army formally the way you do.
How do you function? Kind of says quizzically.
People follow me. My commander puts people under me sometimes, but for the most part, people respect what I have to say, and so they listen to my suggestions. I'm not a commander. I'm not a leader.
Who's commanding House Laine these days?
My uncle.
And their name?
Names every time. I have to come up with a name list for this.
That's I've got
game.
mine open. You can name them later if you'd like.
Yeah, one sec.
Uncle Laine. Uncle Laine, obviously.
Edvard Laine.
Edvard Laine. Edvard. I say, I know him. Decent with a sword, at least was in his younger years.
Yes.
Still rides pretty well.
Mm-hmm. He don't think ever forgave Uncle Gerald for making him leave the field and go back to the castle to organize things, but
I hear rumors that the crown is going to call Gerald back into service. And he and Lucretia are going to be returning.
I wish the crown luck in finding them.
What are they missing?
No one's heard of them since they ran off. Don't blame them.
You are
after what they went through.
All right. I'm going to make a reveal. And I'm going to spend 1 crown point. The Spies of Vespucci.
Ooh.
No one's heard of them? No one knows where they are? Giordan begins to laugh. He goes, their whereabouts are very known, and members of their very house have been reporting on their activities. Lucretia left a vacuum in the capital. She was cunning, but she had many enemies.
I didn't know her that well. Saw her when she would come to visit, but
where I sit, she should be sitting on the throne, not a dying man. But he is king, And the year he did rule was a good one.
He still rules.
Mm, his lady lover rules, or at least is trying to. I fear the council is plotting and scheming against her. What do you think of the great Blanche Mercier?
She is her entire life was thrown out from under her feet 2 years ago, and I think she's done a remarkable job of trying to set herself up steady again.
You,
But I don't, I've never been to the capital. I don't care about all of your machinations there. I don't care who sits on the throne as long as they give us what we need.
that's one way to look at it. Giordan says, he says, you might be meeting Blanche soon. You've been recommended to serve.
How do you know all this?
I have ears. I hear things.
I would not go to the capital.
You would refuse Blanche Mercier?
People are worshiping our enemies out of fear. I suspect
People
that
worship our allies out of fear. He chimes in.
this will be blamed on them. They killed my family, the people I loved, because of out of fear for the children of the calamity. I cannot fight the children of the calamity from capital.
So, I have a question for you, and this is player to player.
Okay.
I think the stakes have kind of moved
Okay.
to a little bit. Essentially, Giordan has been sent by Blanche to recruit a knight to come to court from the north. Whether he got along with her or not, the only knight up north he feels he could trust at all is Tora Laine at this point. It's like, well, we may not see eye to eye, but the wielder of, she who holds Talon would be the knight you would need to seek to come to court that you could rely on. You need someone not local. You need an outsider who is going to speak their mind and take control. So the opinion is whether or not Giordan can even make the offer. Currently, he's trying to survive. So there's no role right now, and we're learning some things about Tora. So we know she's not a commander. We know she's middle rank. We know she has an uncle. There's relationships with Gerald. She would not serve
She
the
has.
capital.
So I imagine there are three brothers, and Gerald was next in line, and then there's Edvard, and then Tora's father is the youngest. So
Okay. I'm gonna just add these to the board. So
yeah,
Edvard, Gerald, Tora's
and
father,
yeah.
and stewards of Laine. It's a small house, small poor house of monster hunters.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna put them up there. So, Giordan at this point says, well, without further ado, I'm formally requesting your appearance in capital so that you can refuse her her grace face to face. The good Lady Blanche is one of my friends, and I don't have many.
Is she one of your friends? The way you
I'll give you a sour look
spoke,
before you even finish that.
the way you spoke of her before.
What do you mean? It's not my fault she has vipers gunning for her every turn. Members of my own house. She's a Mercier. I'm a Vespucci.
And you really think she rules?
She's the only voice on the council that seems to get anything done. Everyone else bickers, bickers, bickers. But she often finds a compromise, finds a good solution. And if it wasn't for her, the king would be dead already.
I apologize. I assumed you meant that she was usurping, but in fact, you just think highly of her. Don't understand these southern ways of speaking.
Oh, that has nothing to do with the South. I just lack eloquence, he kind of says openly.
Well, I might have to decline your uh, your invitation if we can't get out of here. And I think there's like sounds of whatever had been attacking because there were monsters as well, right?
Yeah.
In
So, I'm making a roll, and I'm adding 3 points of valor to it, which is enough to pass the current threat meter, which is a 6. Um, this is essentially the roll to see if we can get out. We will get out, and there won't be much delay, but that doesn't mean we can't play any other scenes that are in here. It's just time's nonlinear. It's
yeah,
just at some point we will get out of the mountain. I think that's where we're going to end the scene. Giordan's opinion is not poor of Tora, and he is being sent to fetch her to come to capital so Blanche Mercier can make a decision for herself. However, it's up to Tora whether or not she even goes.
mm-hmm.
And it's your scene.
All right. Did you roll? Sorry.
I did.
Oh, you did it. No, you didn't do it.
+3 because of my other points. So
It,
it was a difficulty of 6.
+3, so it's 6. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're out. So do we draw a card now, or?
We can. We'll play a card to see what shenanigans are going on.
Mm-hmm. Like I kind of imagine that it like took some time probably to get out. And something has happened because, in the wake of this event.
Okay. So it's going to be a flipped 4 of swords. So flipped 4 of swords. Overexertion, burnt out, restlessness. And this should apply to the kingdom as a whole. Now,
Sword was
swords
House
is
Laine,
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
In my kind of like brief, this is my idea of things.
Yeah. I think that works. So I think in the north, the North is being overrun by the children of the calamity. They're being overrun by monsters. They're being
Mhm.
overrun by those members of House Holloway that had to exodus onto their lands because there's many mountains. They didn't all collapse. It just so happens that Giordan's mountain collapsed.
Yeah.
And I think Laine, since they have so few resources anyways, they're burning out to the point where like they're conscripting these like survivors of the collapsing mountain into
Hmm.
their fold as soldiers. It's just like, well, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna fight. And they're being surrounded on all fronts at this point. There's no money, there's no resources. The food has all been destroyed by uh, the monsters. There's not enough to go around. And what I'm going to say is there's been a seasonal shift, and it is the winter time, which means they're snowed out of the mountains. Snowed out of the mountains. So it's not like they can just go up and ask Holloway for food or riches or anything like that.
Hmm.
So that is essentially the great calamity of our time, the trial, and then we get to set scenes
Yeah.
and decide what's happening. So I'm gonna call this. So we had House Harper Rebellion. This is going to be the struggle of the North. Is just the current thing that's going on, and we can have a scene to play out. It's excited.
Um, uh, I think. How long do you think they spent in the mountain? How long has it been since nobody heard of Giordan and Tora?
I think we were stuck. Well, I think we were in the mountain for at least a week, but then once we
Okay.
get out of the mountain, it's winter.
Yeah.
Uh, it's horrible weather. Um, to get into the land of House Laine, you'll have to fight through legions of monsters. Like they're just out and about roaming freely right now because times are not good.
Hmm.
And if you were to try to get up House Holloway, it'd be like essentially climbing Mount Everest at this point.
Yeah.
It's the worst of times. So heading south is probably the best option. And to answer the question on time, we were in the mountain for at least a week with very little resources. So we're half starved, uh, highly dehydrated, not a lot of options.
Okay. I feel like it's another, I don't know. I can't tell if it's a personal or a societal one because I have two questions and one is one. Like the first question, like one question might be like, how do Jordan and Tora react to or and specifically like how does Tora reacting to what's going on? But I think that's kind of a more simple question is, but like, I don't know. I didn't like because I'm really interested in the fact that like these two heroes, people thought they were dead for a week and then they appeared again. So I guess like
But here's the thing: they've appeared, but they're still in the middle of nowhere, right? So people,
yeah.
we got to figure out where they're headed next. And Giordan is actually looking to part ways. He has sent her his message for her to go to Capital, but he explains he has other duties to tend to.
Okay, maybe then the question is where do they go and is it together?
Okay. Um, he has delivered her a summons to go to capital. Um, and we have to ask: would Giordan trust Tora, or does Tora want Giordan to go with her, or would
Yeah.
she leave him? You know, be like skedaddle.
Um, I think the background is like as they're coming out of the mountain and they're figuring out what to do next.
Yeah,
Um,
Giordan
and,
explains he is to climb the mountain.
and the and I think yeah, the stakes are whether or not they part ways.
Um, I don't know if it's a scene about them discussing it though. I think we just need to decide without role playing it out. Because if you want Giordan to go south with you, he'll go south with you.
Well, so like here's the thing is that she doesn't want to go south, she wants to go north. And we've decided that that's a bad idea, but we've also decided it's a bad
He'll go
idea
with
to
her.
climb up the mountain.
He'll go with her north if she insists on going north. But he's given her a summons to go.
Yeah, I think she needs to talk to her uncle and her father about this summons.
Giordan would want to know why. Aren't you an adult? Aren't you a knight? Aren't you sworn to the crown? I mean, it's up to you. We can go to the family.
I mean, this is, but like Edvard is her commander. Um,
Yeah, but her king is her king, right?
yeah, her king is her king, but I think I think she's torn because she feels like she needs permission from her family, like for herself she needs that permission.
Okay. Um, Giordan would not leave her to die traveling alone because there's a chance she could die traveling alone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and would go with her. Now, we can either skip and say they got through. We can do scenes where they're fighting monsters or sneaking through the lands, or we can do a scene where they finally get to like the first signs of civilization and they like stop at an inn looking like, we have just traversed hell itself, uh, and play a scene out there. So we can do a travel scene, a fighting scene,
Actually,
or a social scene.
why don't we answer the question, what does House Lane think of this summons? Can we change the question? Is that all right? And then we
Yeah,
can have a scene in the castle of House Lane,
yeah.
and you can perhaps play um Edvard as
Okay.
well as Giordan, maybe. Or no, I don't think Giordan
No,
would be
look.
there.
Okay, yeah, well, Giordan. Well, he might if because he delivered the summons and he goes, "Look, there's rules here." He wouldn't go in unless Tora invited him.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I think. I think she would want to talk to her family without him. But he's
Jor-
like, well, he's welcome and respected. Um,
he's trying to round up members of House Holloway to travel south when the time comes.
mhm.
Just looking around, anyone picking up helmets, trying them on them, just seeing if they fit.
Yeah.
Asking if they know how to wield a weapon. He's trying to get some troops under us, so we've looking for a new squire since Alvin's missing.
Hmm. No, Alvin got out though. I
No,
saved him.
Alvin got out, but he's missing from us.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not just like missing in life. I mean, he might just be there. He is a Lane.
yeah, but he's been traveling with the Dragon Guard. He's
Mm.
probably gone south. So,
Yeah, I think she'd want to talk to Edward.
okay, so we can do that scene. Who all is in the court?
Um, I think it might just be a scene between her and and Edvard, like in his office or something.
Did we establish? Can you check in our document what sort of holdings House Lane had? This is gonna be their
Um,
nice place. They like
yeah.
had
They have like a little castle.
The House of Edvard. So this is what I view it as, and by the House of Edvard, it's like whatever the little castle is, that's where this meeting's going to take place. And
Hmm.
I imagine Edvard has like the meeting hall, and that's where it'll take place, and that is where business is conducted. It's not overly large. It's meek, but that is where it will occur.
Where is it? Sorry, I'm just taking a look at House Lane. A small castle.
All right. There's an actual castle. So yeah, you have that. So there will be members of the court, members of the house. Um, there's probably a master of arms, um,
Hmm.
master of horses, etc.
Yeah,
There's a couple
and
different.
they have an educator. That was what they're known for.
Ooh,
They have a teacher.
so the teacher would be there. The teacher in
Yeah.
Edvard, and the teacher. What house is the teacher from?
Um,
They don't even have to be from a
I
house.
don't think they have a house.
All right. Their name is going to be Maggie. Maggie's the teacher.
Okay.
She's wise.
Yeah, like she's famous. Like I think people send or houses send their brightest children to House Lane
Or, well,
to
there's
study with Maggie.
there's other educators. I don't know if anyone. That might be. That might. Yeah, I think maybe it's like going to see Maggie is like sending someone to a private school, so to speak. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that the tuition that's paid to House Lane helps keep the. Maybe it's the only thing keeping the castle running. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, there's other professors
Yeah,
and
there's other
teachers out
teachers
there.
and stuff.
This is a
Probably every
prominent
house
one.
has a teacher, but this one, like
Yeah, they.
Maggie known for it.
All right. So, yeah, let's set the scene. Edvard's there. Maggie's there. Um,
I imagine
and
Giordan is like, yeah, waiting outside.
yeah, he's
Um,
he's not too far. He's on the grounds, but not in the hall.
yeah. And like, I think after this is the first place Tora goes after her wounds have been tended to.
Mm-hmm. So the wounds have been tended to. You are well rested, well fed. At this point, like, and set the stage. So Edvard's there, Maggie's
Yeah, so
there, a couple other.
she kind of like walks in a little bit unannounced. um, this is Uncle.
They, uh, he's deep in conversation with Maggie, and as you come in, he's like, Tora Laine, learn to knock, but you are always welcome at this table. Sit, sit, sit. We'd heard
She
you
sits down.
died.
I almost
Just
died.
blunt like that, like it's a matter of fact. What
Um,
kept you from coming back with the others? He looks like he hasn't slept. You look like you've gotten more rest in the past month than he has, and you've literally been trapped in a collapsed mountain and fighting
mhm.
wars. Because remember, they're overexerted. They're
Yeah,
just the brink.
the mountain fell.
Whose mountain? Mountains don't fall, they stand. Do they fall? He turns to Maggie. Maggie kind of nods. Yeah, they can fall. Oh. Well, it's good to see you alive. We could use a night of your talents. Help us figure out the latest
Is my
conundrum.
father okay?
He's not well.
I told them to send word as soon as I got in. Actually, I think she saw her father first, like when she came in, but it was like a chance meeting. Um, I I'm sorry if I caused you any grief.
The apology accepted. It's fine. We can't stay mad at you. You, all you did is nearly die at a mountain.
I didn't intend to die.
Maggie's curious. How did you get out of the mountain? Mountains are very difficult to traverse, especially after they've fallen.
I was with the dragon of the mountain, and no one knows those mountains better than he.
Edvard's eyes narrow. He kind of grinds his teeth. He's like Giordan Vespucci.
Yes.
Is he here?
He is on the grounds. Yes, he came with me.
Can you get him?
Why?
We have a gift for Giordan Vespucci. A gift to return to his home. Maggie looks pale at a ghost at the mention of this.
Uncle, what? He is dogmatic in his principles, but I believe he is an honorable man.
I heard he butchered our friends in the Shadow Grove.
He did, yes.
An honorable man would not do that, and there is no honor among House Vespucci. Kind of claps his hands and two guards exit. They're going to look for Giordan.
He is dogmatic in his principles. Yes.
Do you trust him?
I would fight alongside him in battle.
Here in the north, we fight along anyone who is not a monster. And he is a monster. Giordan kind of comes in unceremoniously. He's not wearing armor for the first time that you've seen him. He was actually preparing for bed. He was wearing a comical nightgown. He's barefoot. Yeah, his little sleepy hat and everything. I love this. He's just kind of brought in unceremoniously. He's like, what's the meaning of this? Whatever. There's a sign given from Edvard to Giordan. Then at this, listen, he's like, a gift for you, Giordan. And there's a sign given. We'll let the audience imagine whatever they want to imagine. That the spy of Vespucci is dead. And Giordan will know. There's a clear tell sign. Without getting graphic. It's just kind of like, Did you know about this? Edvard says, looking at you.
No. I suspected, but I did not know.
You suspected and you didn't come forward with this? Do you know?
I did not suspect until I was in the mountain, Uncle.
Giordan goes, I beg your pardon, and he's just like, that ain't none out of you. And like for the first time, you notice Giordan doesn't like speak out of turn. He's just like, look, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. Members of House Vespucci cannot be trusted. And Giordan Vespucci shall stand trial on behalf of his house. Seize him. And guards that went to fetch them come to clasp him. Put him in irons.
Uncle, I don't think that is advisable.
What would you advise instead?
I would advise that you stand any other Vespucci in trial other than the one that is trusted by Blanche Mercier.
Um, Blanche Mercier. Who's Blanche Mercier? She hasn't done anything to help House Laine. Just cut off our resources, left us to die. Question
They say
for you.
she rules in the capital.
Sir Giordan Vespucci, did you know that there were spies at the house of Gerald Laine? And he just goes, yes, my lord. Kind of looks and shrugs. Did you send him yourself? No. I guard the mountain. That is where I work. And how did you know? I'm a Vespucci. I have ears. I hear things. Yes, and then, Edvard goes, until further notice, or we can find a replacement, or House Vespucci pays, for their crimes, Giordan shall sit in the cells. Snaps. The guards are escorting Giordan out.
Tora kind of. That's not necessarily like she looks back at Giordan as he's being led away. She says, that's hardly necessary to put him in a cell.
Do you know who you're dealing with?
You or the dragon?
The
Uncle,
dragon.
this man saved my life.
He has saved many lives. He has also jeopardized your life. I'm sure it all balances out in the end. Maggie looks to speak up as the voice of reason and goes, Tora, we need help. And Giordan is probably the largest card in our hand. In many ways, look at him. He's fat. He's like big boned. And Betta, she's just like, Giordan knows things. And I intend to extract the things he knows from him.
We cannot hold the dragon of the mountain without jeopardizing our bond with House Holloway. He is the knight of the Dragon Guard.
They will find another leader. They've done pretty well for the past week without him. They've probably gotten sleep. They've probably stopped to eat food. That man is he's a dragon. We just want to learn the things that he knows and then find out if there's any other spies lurking about.
And I don't disagree. All I ask is that you treat him with respect befitting a guest of House Laine.
I would like you to make a check.
Okay.
It's a difficulty 6, but you'll notice this. There's something going on.
I will use 2 cerebration points. I rolled a 5, so that's a total of 7.
you see out the window, the guards, instead of taking Giordan to a cell, are like taking him to stables and like going to get him on a horse and get him out of here. Vespucci has many spies around here. The guards are also on House Vespucci's payroll.
Um,
you see this, so it's like they're not going to be able to hold him.
yeah. Well, but when she sees that, she'll draw her glaive on the guards.
They're outside.
Oh, they're outside.
They're outside. They've taken him out, and they're taking him to a stable, and they're going to try to get him out of the land.
Then she'll draw that attention to her uncle. She'll say, "Looks like you need some new guards."
What do you mean? Seize him! And this is kind of like Prince John, Disney, Robin Hood. There's going to be a bunch of cartoon animals chasing after Giordan. And so now here's the things you know. Now, knowing this, Tora didn't really get any information out of her family to determine whether or not she goes to the south. But we know that they want to hold Giordan prisoner up here. They want to use him as a resource. Why? Because House Vespucci is spying on all of them. And Giordan is a member of that house, and he is a well-known, prominent member of that house. So they're looking to take him, use him as leverage, and possibly extract information from him because he knows things. I think the next scene would be the chase, and we'd have to decide. So, is Tora going to ride? Here's a question: overall, is Tora staying in the north or riding south? Maybe the next scene decides that, because Giordan is going to have to flee without.
Tora's loyal to her house and like understands that he like. She didn't object to him being held. She objected to his treatment. And so she'll chase after.
She's gonna be part of the party that chases after him. Okay. So here's how it works. We'll set up 5 vignettes. So this is like a montage of things that happen. So the first thing that happens is majority essentially wins this. If 3 points, Giordan escapes. 2 points, Giordan is captured again. The first thing he has to do is he's going to try to delay everyone that's chasing him. So he's going to try to muster those that he's attempted to conscript in the...
Actually, can we, before we start the chase, can we take a quick, 5-10 minute break? Because
it's
about at the hour. And then we can come back to an exciting chase scene.
We can do that, so don't go away. We'll be back in just a few. We're back. We're live.
Hello, welcome back to Half Stick of Shadows. We are about to do a chase. Excuse me. So last we were here, the Tora, Laine, and Giordan Vespucci escaped the mountain, and Giordan delivered a message to Tora from council member Blanche Mercier, asking her to come to Capital. Tora felt like she could not go without the blessing of her family, and so they fought their way to the House Laine holdings. And when she was trying to discuss it with her uncle, the leader of House Laine, it was revealed that she was with Giordan Vespucci, and that the Vespuccis had been spying on House Laine. And so they wanted to hold Giordan for questioning, but turns out there was more than one spy in House Vespucci, or more than one House Vespucci spy. in the Laine stronghold, and they helped Giordan escape, and now he is now there's a chase, and Tora is with the party
Yep.
who is chasing.
So we do montage scenes. The way this works is the only person who will roll during these scenes is Giordan.
Okay.
Giordan is essentially what is at stake, whether or not he is captured or not. And then what we do is we set up a montage of various trials that he must overcome, and he's trying to get best 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And the first thing that he must do is he must muster those what we'll call I don't want to come up with too lame a name for them, but essentially the what I'll call is Giordan's mob. He's going to try to essentially muster them. So he gives out a whistle, and they're going to try to slow down those that are pursuing. This is a difficulty 7. I'm not going to spend any points. Nope, it's a 0. It's a fail. So the mobs are just completely like, they come out, they're like, we'll stop them, and just the chase goes right past them, and they're just like, did we stop them? And the party is gaining on Giordan, who's currently darting around town trying to get on a horse and get out. Set the next montage scene.
I think he's escaped the castle grounds on a horse, but there is like just there was like a cart or something, like a merchant caravan or something that had just been totally and utterly destroyed by the children of the calamity, and so it's like right in the middle of the road, and he has to kind of go around through swamp, and it slows him down.
Okay.
But it also slows everybody down, right? So
Okay, so he's got to figure out how to deal with this obstacle. He's going to try to clear it on the horse. He's going to use his dashing. 2 points. Nah, 3 points. And just jump over it. So I roll 1d10 minus 1 and then add 3 to the total. 12. He does as well as he can do to get around it. So just horse right over it expertly. The mud and the slog does not slow him down. He clears it and is taking a lead. So it's 1-1 right now. So there's going to be more trials. The next thing is Giordan realizes that in order to slow down House Laine and to perhaps cause them to break and retreat, he is going towards the monsters. Like there's a mob, there's like a herd of them moving, there's a large cluster of about 100 these children of the calamity, and he veers to go right into them like an asteroid. So this is to make sure that he doesn't get eaten by them. So I'm going to spend 3 points of valor and head right into them, and I get a 10. So that's 2 successes, and so now he's expertly, riding his horse through a large mob of children of the calamity. So if House Laine pursues, they're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. Um, so I think House Laine is pretty used to fighting this, and especially Tora, who's at the front. Um, and so she like unsheathes her glaive and kind of like the way guiding the horse via um uh, like just using pressure from her knees instead of the reins. She starts having these sweeping cuts with talon um across across this mob, and um it actually doesn't, like, it's not like parting the sea or anything. um but it uh because talon is such an effective weapon against them, they are like it's enough for her to go through, and maybe a few people behind her, and um or it's thinned out for the people behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gaining.
Okay. But what's going to be the obstacle for
Oh, the
Giordan?
obstacle. Right. Okay. Sorry. I can't. Yeah, because I guess you can't roll to see if I ride a horse fast.
I would intentionally try to fail. Like,
Yeah.
what we do know is my ploy works. So even if you're doing that, you're losing people. Members of House
Yeah.
Lane are
Yeah.
getting, like, that's.
Yeah. Not like necessarily losing them, but like they're slowed.
No,
So they have to. They
I'm
fight
pretty
them
sure
faster.
I'm pretty sure there's losses too, because that was the whole
Okay. That's.
intention of
Oh
going in
yeah.
there.
There's like
Yeah,
there's like 100 of them.
yeah. Where
Uh.
he's literally because he doesn't even have a weapon on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his
He's in his
nightgown.
stupid nightgown. That's right.
Yeah, and so he's stolen a stupid horse that's dumb enough to go with him, and he's riding into a mob with no weapons, suiciding.
Yeah. Um. Uh. I think like in one of these like charred patches on the road, I think like a child of the calamity like comes up right in front of him, like
Okay.
just starts to appear from the ground.
All right. Um, I'm going to burn and cash in uh the dragoning.
Oh.
Yes. And in order to get a +3 on my roll, and how go ahead and describe this child of the calamity to me.
I imagine them to be, they look like shadows, just like large and very angular, um, and like uh, you can't really see any, like you can't really make out features or very well of like like face, mouth, or whatever, but um there's this like kind of awful loud whisper staticky sound that comes from them. um and they have these kind of like pointed arms, like knife like arms.
All right, I'm cashing in the dragoning, and fictionally how this looks is so it'll add +3 to my roll. I need to beat a 7. I'm going to cast and perform a spell, a forbidden spell. Uh, it's a word of command, uh, and it's a shadow command, essentially to uh, order this child of the calamity to depart. So I'm going to spend 3 points of cerebration, so I have
So
0.
by cashing in the dragoning, what does that mean for the narrative?
Okay, so here's what it means. Well, this has come up in Unrestful Hearts playthroughs. So the points go back into the pool,
Yeah.
and it's exhausted like a tag. So I'm still a dragon and I'm still a dragoning,
Yeah.
but it's not a focal story point
Oh,
anymore.
okay. Okay.
It may come up again at certain points. It may not. Um, the glory points are essentially cached at this point
Okay.
because I'm using it to do a thing. Uh, but the crown points stay in my pool because you only need 3 in order to get a bonus to the roll. But it's just one of those things where it's like it's still part of the story. It's just not the focus. The same as like, say you cashed in Talon. Talon
Mm-hmm.
still exists. It's just you're not going to use Talon to solve a problem later.
Mm-hmm. I
Or
see. I
you
see.
might restore Talon. You might say, well, instead of taking a legendary quality, I want to restore Talon so I can use it in another story.
Okay. I get it.
So this works essentially. My eyes turn green, my claw glows, my wings appear, and I speak a forbidden shadow command. Uh, and I've spent. I get a +6 on the roll, so I need to not roll a 0. Yay, a 2! 8. I have my 3 successes, and so there's still another scene though. I won't be captured, but there might be some other problem. So Giordan has clearly there's just too many children of the calamity. They're actually growing, and so this might even be like a spawning area for them where they just
Mm-hmm.
rise up. That's why there's so many here, and there's so many passing through. Um,
Yeah.
and you can see that Giordan has is disappearing into this setting sun. But what's one final challenge for him? This will not allow him to be overtaken. He can no longer be captured. No one can get him. But he's going to have a trial that he has to overcome.
Um, so here's my question is can Tora still follow him knowing that she can't capture him on her own?
Yeah, I mean, she just isn't going to be able to catch him in the chase. She might catch him later, or she might still go
Yeah.
south on her own.
Um, so yeah, I think that's what happens is uh Tora will, seeing what's happening, will call off the chase, and tell her and tell the other members of House Lane to retreat. Um, but she'll keep going. Um, and the the final kind of challenge for him is like a snowstorm, I
That's what I'm
think.
thinking, and I'm thinking there's a couple different ways we can handle this. So, snowstorm works. And then we have to think of the consequence of the snowstorm. So, if I don't beat out the storm because my horse is exhausted, I'm exhausted. I didn't even get good rest. I immediately started trying to
Mm-hmm.
raise an army.
Yeah.
If I don't beat out the storm, I'm in like nearby villages that are on Laine land.
Mm-hmm.
If I beat out the storm, I'm at least going to be in Vespucci fiefdoms or something like that. Like I'll be
Yeah.
far enough south that I'm probably not going to get chased by Laine soldiers. So
Yeah.
I have 1 point of dashing. I'm going to spend the 1 point of dashing. That's the only point I can spend. Man, it sucks being a player because you can see though, but it's kind of cool. Like I've spent all my pools. I've cashed in my legendary thing. I'm having an epic chase, and then I get to. So I've got to beat a 7, otherwise I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to be trapped here until the snow breaks. I made it. I beat it out. I rolled high
Oh my
enough.
gosh.
Yep. So Tora, as a consequence, can still follow. She's
Mm-hmm.
not going to make it south though, because it's like, hey, these passages won't. At least she won't be able to go with Giordan. She'll still be able to head south, but she'll have to go a different way. So
Okay.
Giordan is going to be out of Laine territory and entering what would be Vespucci territory, or Mercier, one or the other. Uh, in fact, it's probably disputed land.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like, look, we we really don't like to talk about it. You know, it's
Yeah.
but their holdings are vast, both of them. So
So,
that's the scene.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Um, I think like Tora got some injuries through that. Like Giordan was able to like kind of have the element of surprise and so was able to get through relatively unscathed. Um, but his he like essentially angered the children of the calamity so that um, they were agitated
Yeah.
when she came through. And so I think she realizes that actually, I think maybe, yeah, no, she realizes that she needs to stop um, or else she's going to die kind of, frozen and bleeding in the middle of the road. But um, the uh, words. But like the next morning after, she goes to, some little town. Um, and I think she now has a reason to go to Talus, the capital, and, but not necessarily to answer Blanche Mercier's call.
Well, if you do go and your presence is known in capital, there are people that are going to be looking for you. There's going to be people that are looking for you if you refuse the call too. That's a plot thread to resolve whenever you feel like it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Giordan has this problem. He's not returning to capital with Tora Laine, and all he can say is she flat out refused. But he can't say that because he's honest. He's going to have to say she wanted permission from her house. Her house attempted to arrest me. I escaped. And then they're going to be like, well, why didn't you allow yourself to be arrested? They could ask you whatever. You wouldn't break. You wouldn't sell us out, would you? Would you? And then he's just like, oh, I don't know. So you get to set the next scene, and this will be the final scene for the night.
Yeah. Um,
So you can follow Giordan heading south, or you can circle back up with Tora, or you can introduce a new knight, or it can be a societal struggle of any sort.
I want to have. I want to see what's up with Blanche and Bruce. Honestly,
Okay, so what's going on there?
yeah, like I kind of want the camera to pull away from our heroes, and then like, or or like as Tora heads towards Talus, um, the camera pulls away from her, and then like goes to this scene. And I think the question I want answered is how much is yes, hello, Pearl. The question is how much is how well can Bruce Holloway still rule from his bed?
Kind of can't. He's more or less indisposed.
Well, I imagine like is he lucid? I imagine that he's lucid because like I imagine
that might even be the question.
That's
The question might even be what condition is he in, because we
yeah.
haven't really established.
Because at the end of The King is Dead, we said that like Blanche would be there at his bedside, like reporting what the council said and asking for his opinions and stuff.
I had him in an almost catatonic state though, right? He was just out. It's almost visiting him is almost like visiting a shrine. So let's determine that. So this might even be the scene where Bruce wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's
Yeah,
been a
let's
string.
find out. Let's find out what happens.
All right. Bruce is there. Uh, and what we'll say is Bruce has opened his eyes today.
Okay.
And he is surrounded by there are people there. Who all is in the room? I'll let you decide.
Um, I think uh, so. Blanche is obviously there, and I think there is like essentially like a nurse or a doctor or something
Mm-hmm.
who's assigned to him to like kind of
A physician.
help him with his personal care. Um, uh, and I think there's like a trusted knight outside guard keeping guard.
Okay. Um. So Bruce's eyes are open, and he speaks his first word. The mountain has fallen.
Yes, it has. We just received word and we lost we lost Giordan, Vespucci, and Torling.
There is uh he's having a hard time maintaining his senses. He goes,
Mm-hmm. As soon as his eyes open and he
yeah.
starts speaking, Blanche would have grabbed his hand.
Okay, he's like, there's a shadow cast from the sun that sits upon that mountain. The sun is casting the shadow.
What are you saying, Bruce?
He's having a hard time keeping his eyes open. And then he sort of looks around, and then uh he he asks uh how how the trade agreements are going. He's immediately going into business because, if you recall, you guys had a very successful year while Bruce was on the throne, and now it's a time of civil strife. He's just like, are we out of debt? Do we still owe Vespucci money? Do we still owe your house money? Are the mines profitable? Let's.
She'll like kind of help him sit up so he can stay awake a little more. Um, and kind of like say, well, things were looking all right, although with the mountain falling, um, it was a Vespucci mountain that fell, yes?
It was a Vespucci mountain. Not only that, Vespucci was on the rise, and it was a profitable mountain.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like their business investment collapsing.
Mm-hmm. Says, well, it was, explaining that it was Vespucci land that fell, and so, um,
They're not going to be happy.
no.
They might look towards Mercier. They might look towards seizing some of their assets. They always retaliate.
They do.
How is the council?
Well, Lucretia and Gerald ran away. The council is petty and self-interested. I'm glad you're back.
What would you do at the council? Should we replace the members? Should we hold elections? Should
I don't know. It's hard. I think we need more impartial members. People who aren't in the pocket of Vespucci or Mercier or Holloway and Laine are impossible to reach now.
The snow has stopped falling. The ice will melt. I think I need to retake the throne. Why am I in my bed? He kind of looks around. The physician's looking at you like, we need to put him down. He needs sleep.
And so she'll say, "You're very sick and you need rest."
With that, he closes his eyes and he's out instantly. The physician says, I think that'll be all for the day.
Doctor, is this a good sign or?
It's certainly a sign. He was coherent, you think, and he seemed to have a remarkable retention for minute details for someone who's been down for so long.
It's like he remembered everything from the moment he fell ill.
The physician kind of nods, almost concerned. Then kind of looks to the door and he says, well, will you be staying with him much longer?
Doctor, where are you from?
I was born here in Talus.
Who is your family?
Not a member of a royal house. I used to be a surgeon for House Mercier. But we were attacked. He kind of shows a scar down one side of his face.
I know that I can trust you with His Majesty's life.
My dear Blanche, you cannot trust me at all. He starts spilling his beans. He's like, the council's had me on payroll for months. They've been using me to keep him like this.
Doctor, why?
They've threatened my family. They have them. I don't have access to them. And they said if I stop, well, they'll kill them.
Why didn't you come to me sooner?
Because we're being watched. Kind of looks at the guard at the door. And then he kind of gets like a wry smile and starts like laughing. And he goes over to the guard and he pulls up the helmet. The guard's been standing there at attention. The guard is completely asleep. He gave the poison that he was supposed to give to the king to the guard today. And then like the king woke up and he confessed to you. He's like, I need to get out of here.
What about your
I
family?
I received a letter that those that had them under wraps are no more. A tall knight traveling in a nightgown stopped to stay on their lands. The soldiers got suspicious of him. They drew their swords on him. They are no more, and my family is free.
Yes, then you must leave.
He looks really sad. He's like, I am so sorry this was done to you, but I've written everything. Uh, I've made a log of all those who committed these treasonous acts and used me as their hands, for I am guilty as well. And
Uh,
he explains that you can retrieve his record uh, from his private laboratory. He explains that it'll be his memoir, Volume 3, that would have it in it. And I'm going to spend my crown points, all of them, to create this thing.
okay. I want to add. I want to add a passion point. I think.
To the memoir?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you cut camera, uh, agents garbed in robes and masks have tossed his lab and are like stealing all of his documents, stealing all of his things. Uh, that memoir is going to be the point of something to chase after and find, and someone will have it. We'll see if and when it shows up. Probably one of our characters will come into its possession, either Tora or Giordan or.
Yeah. So I think Blanche like writes a missive and seals it with her personal seal
Mm-hmm.
and says, God, we never named the neighboring country.
There's like 7 nations out there.
No. But the one that Mercier is the most, because Mercier was a foreign house before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wherever House Mercier's ancestral lands are. Um, and she says, uh, leave Cascada, go to my family's estate, give them this note. You will be safe.
Um, he takes the note and he asks if you should trust it to one as old and wretched as he. I betrayed you once. I'd hate to betray you again.
Do you trust yourself?
Kind of looks at Bruce lying down on the bed, the guard sleeping while standing. He goes, kind of shrugs. He goes, I guess I'm your best bet, and I'll have to redeem myself for my crimes. He starts making his way out. And
If
kind of
not for
looks.
me, then for your family. Or if not for you, then for your family.
He nods and departs, and I think that's going to be the scene. So here's some things to think about. So Blanche has summoned Tora as like the knight to trust. Giordan has knowledge of the treachery because he encountered the family that was held captive. So Blanche knows who Giordan is because she sent him to go fetch Tora.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 people she would trust. So that kind of ties Blanche and Bruce to Tora and Giordan both. Giordan will be returning to capital as soon as he can get there. And let me advance the clock. So the struggle of the North is halfway through now. The years will advance.
I mean, it's not
And
really years, but
it's not, but that's how you keep track of sessions. It's
yeah,
we call it seasons and years.
yeah.
It's also a new year because the winter's ending. It'll be spring.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It is the new year. All
So
right.
that's your session.
Yeah, that's exciting. Now we got to do end of session stuff, right? So,
Um, Sort of, yeah. So in ended stream stuff. So we've ended that scene, but we haven't ended this. But those Blanche and Bruce and this guy, uh they're not like player characters. They're not knights. They're not prime people. So we don't give them tags.
no.
And we can spend our points from our people to make things like we
Oh,
made the memoir of Dr. Tressel.
have we not been giving? So should we have been giving tags
It didn't
to?
really feel like we earned any tags in any scenes. Maybe Giordan
Yeah,
for the escape and maybe Tora for talking to her father. So I think we should do that. We should at least do
yeah.
that. So let's give ourselves some tags. So Giordan would get the tag. What's a good one for escaping?
Um, I feel like I want to give him something for like reckless or something for because I think the most.
He Han Solo'd right into an asteroid field.
Yeah,
He was just like,
yeah, he just like went right into it. So I feel like that's the biggest
yeah.
something to do with his like recklessness because it wasn't fearless, I don't think.
I don't
um
think he was scared. But I would put never say die. Um, that's the attitude. That's one
yeah,
way. So it's just kind of like, look, it doesn't matter what the odds are. Um, we will we will go forward. Um, so yeah, he'll have the never say die tag. What's a tag that we'd give Tora for the whole scene with her dad
mm-hmm.
or uncle?
um I think it's probably,
Peacemakers might be a good one. She was trying to come to a compromise.
yeah, I think it was
Compassionate or something
like
like that.
but it was more about loyalty to her house, um and like loyalty to her family name.
That's why she went there, but she didn't do what her uncle who's sitting
Oh
as head of
yeah,
the
that's
house would
true.
do. So she has not.
Well, because
So
what she was kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, that's true.
I mean, her house has been spied on by Vespucci, and they just wanted to arrest a known conspirator.
Yeah, and she just wanted him to be treated like I think despite herself not being into the political thing, like she's starting to think just by spending more time with Vespucci, like a Vespucci has like started to kind of think more about like the political standing
Mm-hmm.
of her house.
Yeah,
Um uh so yeah, I think maybe like mediator.
yeah. Something like mediator is really good because when you spend this, it'll be in all sorts of scenes later.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's a good one. Um, and then that'll be that. And then we can. What I'm gonna say is, give yourself either 3 crown, passion, or glory points, or split them up however you
Mhm.
want for the first scene that we played together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them 2 in glory, 1 in crown. might add. I'm gonna spend 2 passion points and create a location called the Trestle Family Farm.
Okay.
It is a point of interest on the map. There's this Trestle Family Farm that Giordan stayed at.
Yeah.
Or Trestle Family Lands is what I'll call it.
And I'm going to put a point into Talon, I think, my last point.
Okay.
I'll put another glory point into it, I think.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we will be back with more Unrestful Hearts. I think we'll be doing a lot of Unrestful Hearts unless we feel like we need to like set something up in a different game. But for now, it'll be a big chunk of Unrestful Hearts, I think. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Do all the YouTube things about, liking and commenting and subscribing, and there's a bell, and, do all that. And try to catch us on live if you can. I am, oh no, I'll let Grant do it first.
Hey, I've got lots of stuff going on. My name's Grant. I'm an independent content creator. I've got a bunch of books on sale for now. Follow my Twitter so you can see where to buy those. TPK Bestiary and TPK Handbook Volume 2. The Essence of Invisible Sun by Monty Cook Games. I was a contributing author on. I am the tabletop event director for Gex Convention and the Twitch producer for WebDM Show. If you want to find out what I've got going on, follow me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm the Starving Soubrette. This is my channel. I'm here. You can find me, find me at JL_NiceGirl on Twitter. Check out my pinned tweet for all of the stuff that I'm doing throughout the week, all of the games I'm playing on other channels. We didn't have a solo stream last week, and this week I am hoping to, but watch this space otherwise. I just want to shout out one thing that released today. At Kiana S. and I have been working on compiling a bunch of safety tools into a kind of one centralized place, the TTRPG Safety Toolkit. And that launched today. It has the TTRPG Safety Toolkit guide and also links and a Google Drive folder full of other resources that you can use. It will have eventually the audio of our panel that we did at Forest City Comic Con. And it's something that we worked really hard on. So if you are interested in how to make your table a better and safer space, you can check it out. I will put the link in chat. But, it showed up all weird. That's wrong. It's bit.ly/TTRPG Safety Toolkit. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it's bit.ly/TTRPG Safety Toolkit, or that link in chat there. And definitely check it out. And we will see you next week for more intrigue and dragons.